Hello everyone, it's Christina from Our Wood Home. Welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, this week we're talking about Proverbs 31 verse 20. This is a continuation video of my Proverbs 31 study series. The last video in this series was about a month ago. I'm trying not to post every week with this video series just so that there's some variety in my content. Alright, so let's get into verse 20, which says, "She extends her hand to the poor, and she stretches out her hands to the needy." Unlike the other verses we looked at in this series, this one seems to be pretty easy to understand, and admittedly I wasn't sure how I could build upon what's written, since we could probably all think of ways to extend charity to others. But this verse doesn't say that the Proverbs 31 woman gives a little extra in her weekly tithe to support the food bank, or gives her unwanted clothes to a shelter, or writes a monthly check for a third world relief charity. No, it says she extends and stretches her hands to the poor and the needy. I can hear you saying, whoa, you are way off track. Church donations, giving goods to shelters, and helping with missions work is definitely caring for those less well off than ourselves. And you're right. But what I want to talk to you about today is something called slacktivism. Have you heard this term before? Apparently it's been around for nearly 3 decades, but I only became familiar with it in recent years. Here are some definitions from online dictionaries. Number 1, the practice of supporting a political or social cause by means such as social media or online petitions, characterized as involving very little effort or commitment. 2, slacktivism is a term for feel-good measures in support of an issue or social cause. Slacktivism is showing support for a cause with the main purpose of boosting the egos of participants in the movement. And the third definition I found says it's an activity that uses the internet to support political or social causes in a way that does not need much effort. For example, creating or signing online petitions. Perhaps you can think of a few examples of this type of behavior that you've seen. Sadly, it's common among Christians, especially of my generation, and for reference, I'm 30 years old. It's so easy to support missions, charities, organizations, etc. with a monthly check or credit card payment, isn't it? Technology has made it simple for us to contribute to causes we may never have heard of were it not for social media or the internet in general. And please don't misunderstand me, there is nothing wrong with supporting honest and biblically focused charities. In my opinion, the problem is when we as Christians do it so that we can have our righteous, feel-good moment. And I can honestly say that giving makes me feel good. We work hard to save our money and to budget and carefully plan, so being able to donate makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile with our funds. And I don't believe there's anything wrong with finding joy in giving. But if I take a picture of my check for global missions and post it on social media, are my intentions truly good? If I take selfies while serving at a food bank, am I there for the sake of helping out or to call attention to my good deed? Think about the Proverbs 31 woman. Based on what we know of her, do you think she would be helping the poor and needy to make herself look better? From what we've learned so far in this study, she is humble, hardworking, willing to do things she doesn't have to, diligent, thoughtful, wise, desiring to serve her family, and trustworthy. We don't read anything about her being self-seeking, haughty, self-righteous, or afraid of hard work, do we? In verse 20, it says she physically reaches out to help those in need. As with all my other videos about this, it has come to the point where we say, that's all fine and dandy, but how does that apply to women today? In my opinion, we can all find ways to get out and further God's kingdom by serving others. Of course, there are the usual ideas, such as volunteering in food banks, homeless shelters, etc. And those are great, and I have a few other suggestions as well. Helping deliver meals to shut-ins or the sick. Visiting with people in hospital or nursing homes. Volunteering to read with young children. Assisting an elderly person with house or yard work. Offering shuttle service for cancer patients. I'm not sure if this is something that's available in other parts of Canada or in the US or in other countries, but here in my area there's an organization that offers this service free of charge for people needing cancer treatments in the bigger cities around our area. Now I know these things may not be possible for you for whatever reason. Especially now during a global pandemic, it's kind of hard to get out and serve in the community when there's so many restrictions in place. I personally don't have my own car, so even if we were not in a pandemic, a lot of these ideas wouldn't really work for me. but there are still ways that we can help from home. For example, if you sew or knit or crochet, you can make items for premature babies in the hospital or a local crisis pregnancy center. You can also host a baby item drive for a pregnancy shelter in your area. You could volunteer to become a crisis hotline responder or create handmade cards for veterans or active military personnel. Often my videos or my blog posts tend to get a little rambly, and I hope that I sort of made my point with this video. My main point here is that the Proverbs 31 woman, and those of us who aspire to be like her, should be making an effort to get out there and help the people who need it. We shouldn't be doing it for attention or the praise. The Proverbs 31 woman does this because she sees the need and wants to meet it. As I said before, since we are in a pandemic right now as of 2021, it can definitely be hard to get out in the community and volunteer with various organizations. So if you find yourself in that situation now where you're not able to get out and maybe you don't have the ability or resources to do any of the at-home options I suggested, maybe just consider a time of prayer and waiting until you are able to serve in the community. You can still spend time in prayer for your local government leaders, your church leaders, friends, family, neighbors, all that sort of thing. I hope that you enjoyed this video about Proverbs 31 verse 20. There are still a few more verses that I want to cover, so those will be coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you so much for watching this video and for being part of my channel here. If you like what you see or hear, I hope that you consider subscribing. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.